Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. I wanted to come to you in person as we transition from the first portion of the semester to the second. Everybody did extremely well on exam number one. I'm really impressed. We had a max score of 98, which I believe is the highest that we've ever had in the class, an average of 86 and a median of 88, which are all, from my standpoint, excellent scores. Even though there were so many multiple choice questions, some of them challenged you. They weren't your traditional, just really obvious questions and required you to do a little bit of digging and research, which is why you had the extra time and that it was open book. So I'm glad to see that a lot of you did do that research to help support your decision making as you were answering those questions. If you have any questions or concerns about the test or anything else, please let me know. I'm happy to walk through some of those answers and reasoning with you. So the first half of the course, just as we reflect on the way this course is structured and what I'm looking for you to get out of it, is we looked at the healthcare system or the lack of system, some of the challenges, but also some of the opportunities and things that are coming down the pipeline that are really going to impact the triple or quadruple aim, our ability to care for our patients, provide access, have high quality care, know that we are doing the right things for our patients and for our providers. So a lot of really exciting things happening. What I feel like a lot of times in healthcare and in leadership still is that we are getting leaders that have a lot of opinions about what's coming down the pipeline, what to expect and what we're going to do about it, what's going to work and what's not going to work. And none of that matters. Opinions are just opinions. They're really not useful as we are trying to understand how to provide the best possible care for our patients. We need to focus on evidence-based leadership. That means having data to support whatever you're focused on. If you can't measure it, it's really difficult to improve. So we want measurable, quantifiable metrics that are going to help our organization make the best decisions for our patients. We want to make sure that we are looking at the literature. So bringing in all of the peer-reviewed sources that you can, seeing who's tried different aspects of care delivery, and how did that work out for them, what did they learn, trying to take some of that learning into account as we figure out what we can do to provide better care, and experimenting. So really this goes back to, I know I brought in Atul Gawande a lot into the conversation in the past two discussions, but I think that this notion of the work that he's doing, the kind of new position that he's in, it builds on the work of the Institute for Healthcare Improvement, IHI, Edwards Deming, who's the quality guru in terms of we need to be able to measure the things that are important to us. And we need to run really small scale experiments to test how can we figure out what works and what doesn't. We're going to learn something. If something doesn't work, if we try better care coordination at discharge, in terms of preventing readmissions or something really specific, with one unit, with one multi or interdisciplinary team, right? We want to understand and monitor the data over time, understand patients that were receiving care from that team and how that impacted readmissions. Only then, when we start to really get data at that small local level, can we understand what works, what doesn't, and how we need to tweak it in order for these kind of improvements to be scalable. Opinions, again, are really not of much use. So I want you to kind of continue to carry that thinking in terms of that evidence-based leadership with you, not only throughout this course, but throughout the program and the work that you do. So as we reflect back on the first half of the course as well, my goal is really trying to understand for all of you too, what are you passionate about? What are the aspects of care delivery? Where do you see yourself? What do you want to learn more about? And I would suggest, I think almost everybody has already sent me an email regarding what you're going to focus on for your research paper. But as you approach the research paper for the second half of the course, I would start it now. My intent for you is to submit to me what you want to work on. It's not due until the end of the semester, but start doing some of that digging. Again, I'm going to be looking for that evidence-based thinking. I am also going to be looking at your written communication skills. I'm going to be grading your research papers for this class, but just so you know, the MBA faculty throughout the School of Business will also be, we've got a subset of us that are looking at specific assignments throughout the program to make sure that our students are meeting our expectations. And one of those learning goals is written communication. So this will be an assessment that will potentially be looked at by faculty beyond just me. So you know that. So I'm looking for strong written communication. I'm also looking for you to again, to really think through critically about a specific topic, a policy, how that applies to the work that you do and the patients that you serve. So if you have questions about that, please let me know. But again, for those of you that are in the MBA HSA program, I would hope that you would be able to think a little bit longer term about when you get out of the program, looking back and having some body of work that you did that you can point to, whether you publish it or not. Hopefully this research paper will serve as kind of the base or the literature review for whatever you decide to work on later down the road. Again, if you have questions about that, please let me know. So as we move into the second half of the semester, it's going to shift from being kind of theoretical high level to more of a quantitative focus. So we'll be talking through measures of inpatient use, measures of use for the population, age adjustments, institutional measures of use, outpatient measures of use. This is all priming you to move into managerial epidemiology, which again, we're trying to find things that are measurable. That is how we're going to be able to improve. So for some of you, these sort of this focus on how do we calculate length of stay, how do we calculate occupancy rates, these are things that are going to be talked about at a leadership level. So you're going to hear them. You probably already know what they mean and what they represent, but how do we actually calculate them? Again, the intent is that when we look to improvement, we want to make sure that we have metrics that make sense and we know where the data is coming from. Again, this all supports that higher level goal of developing evidence-based leadership using data. We need to make sure that think about, for those of you that are working with healthcare organizations, how can you get your hands on some of this data internally so you can start to understand where some of these important outcome metrics are coming from at an organizational level. Start looking at some of the literature to see what have other organizations done that have been effective at improving some of these things. And then what can we do, or what are we currently doing to experiment and try to improve? Again, no opinions. We want to really root all of our improvement work in data and evidence. So again, the final exam that'll be coming up at the end of the semester, that is going to be very similar to exam number 1. You're going to get a week to do it. It's going to be open book, but instead of testing on concepts and being multiple choice, it will be quantitative. I will be looking for you to submit some Excel support showing your work. Please make sure you do that on the homework assignments as well. If you show your work and you really take time to put together your Excel worksheets, it's going to be easier for me to see if you made a mistake, where it came from, were you pulling in incorrect data, or was there some calculation error? So that is going to be, the final exam will be just focused on the second half of the semester, testing that quantitative knowledge. And then again, there will also be the research paper that's pulling in those concepts from the first half of the course, your critical thinking, and your ability to demonstrate evidence-based leadership. If you have any questions as we move into this next section, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I love to talk to all of you. In my email, I've got the You Can Book Me link. I'm available anytime to meet with you. If those times don't work, just let me know when would work for you. And I look forward to seeing all of your next assignments. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.